Today's video is going to be both very entertaining and educational because I'm going to show you the evolution of my portfolio all the way from 12 years ago until today, and I hope you'll learn a lot from it. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, what's up? On today's video, I want to take you through the journey of how my portfolio evolved. I think this will be very beneficial for you because you'll be able to see, first of all, how crappy of a designer I was when I just got started, but also how I've built things along the way, what I've presented. Some things obviously I did wrong, some things I guess I did right along the way, but you'll be able to see how I grew with each step of the process. And hopefully wherever you are in your journey right now, you'll know that it's okay to be where you are right now, and this is the way forward. This is the next step that you need in order to build a better portfolio, get better opportunities, and so forth. Let's start at the beginning. So my first actual job, full-time job that I got as a designer was something like 12 years ago. I was 22 years old. I just got out of military service, which is compulsory here in Israel. So it was my first job actually at 22, never worked like a full-time job before. Back in the time for design jobs, really, I don't think online portfolios was so huge like 12 years ago. It wasn't very easy to build a website. So I literally came with a CD with some of my projects that I want to show you. Most of them were actually self-initiated projects. Again, I never did like proper work in my life before. I did some freelance work, which I showed a few videos ago on my freelance journey. If you didn't see that, you might want to catch that video. But let's see. So basically, this is kind of a folder of things that I showed. And just the context, the work that I was interviewing for, it was kind of a digital marketing agency. So it was a lot of, I guess, banner work, landing pages, that type of stuff. So let me show you what I showed them. Basically, I showed them some 3D work that I used to just play with 3D Studio. Why is this relevant? I don't know, but these are just like this 3D stuff that I could do back in the time. I just used to work on my own elements. This is kind of a project that I did as a freelance project that I did mention on my freelance journey for some agricultural startup. So basically I did this 3D modeling for them. And this is also a 3D project that I did back in high school, actually. So I showed them some 3D stuff. I also showed them some photography. Why I thought photography is going to be helpful in a design job, I don't know. But again, I didn't have much design job to show back at the time. So I thought, let me show them that I can take some photos. Also, let me show them that I can do some digital drawings. Why is that relevant? Again, I don't know. I just showed them what I could do back at the time, and this is what I could do. I did have a little bit of website design. This is a website that I did, again, 12 years ago for this agricultural startup that I worked with. And this is another one for a video production company. This is so small, I can't even make this bigger on the screen here. So this is some web design. This is the quality of web design that I was able to show them back at the time. Some vector stuff. So some drawings and illustration that I did with vectors on Illustrator. Again, not really design related. As you can see, back at the time, I wasn't like, this is before I went to design school. Everything I had at this point was just big enthusiasm and experimentation with a lot of things. You know, I was interested in design, so I tried to do 3D, I tried to do vector illustration, I tried to do photography, I tried to experiment with many things. I didn't really know which direction my career is going to go to, so I just showed everything. And for this specific company, it was good enough to actually get that job. I have to say that the reason I was interviewed there was because my mother's friend, daughter, was working there and recommended me. So I did have kind of a warm lead into this, and they didn't have kind of like amazing designer working for them, so they didn't have much reference. And I got this job. It was really a designer, junior designer role, again, doing banners and stuff like that, which isn't like amazing, but it was a really good kind of a playground for me to learn. After that, I went to design school, and the next iteration of my portfolio is this one. So this is a website that I've built during actually my, I think, second year at school. This is how it looks like. This is actually, if you look here, index PHP, this is actually, I actually coded kind of the back end for this website. And basically, I don't know if you, maybe I should zoom in here. It says this website is a small showcase of my work. Some are made as school project. I'm currently in my second year in school. Some personal projects. So let me show you some of my schoolwork back at the time. So this is, for example, I did some poster design where I gave people kind of like red and blue glasses, and you can see the posters differently depending on the glasses that you had, and kind of wanted to show different perspectives on issues that you can look at two different perspectives. Some other, let's see. Portfolio package. Yeah, so this is a portfolio package I did where I put the CD. Again, portfolio used to be on CD back at the time. And I wanted to show, this is a photo of me, and it says here Ron in Hebrew. Basically, I wanted to show kind of like different personality or things that inspired me. So you could turn the CD around and see different kind of like people who I guess had an effect on me. So you have here Bukowski, Kurt Cobain, I don't know, Salvador Dali, just kind of like funny people. So this is kind of like schoolwork that I did back in the time. This is a map of my apartment, vector. This is basically experimental stuff. And also some personal work. So these are some personal illustrations I did back at the time. This is kind of a vector self-portrait that I did at the time. And this portfolio actually, I don't think got me any opportunity. It was just like I did this as an experiment while I was in school. I wasn't trying to apply to any job using that. It was just to showcase what I was working on at the time. Now, around the end of my schoolwork, I started to try to look for my next opportunity after school and also look for a little bit of internships. And so I've built kind of the next iteration, maybe two or 3 years after this one. I've set this one. By the way, you can look at the URLs here. Tommy Sega is the domain for my name. This is really old, and after that, there is just old. And this is the next iteration of my portfolio. So this is, I guess, the second one, or actually the third one, you might say. Here, the intro is kind of like typographic. My name is Ron Segal. I'm 28, working hard to become. So this is 9 years ago, right? I'm working hard to become a great graphic designer, passionate about life, design, people, making the world a better place. Yeah, I was part of that cliche. I guess 9 years ago today, I would probably not write something like that. But I guess I thought 9 years ago it meant like something. And here, most of the work that I have here are also schoolwork. But those are kind of like, I guess, more... you can see that I grew a little bit as a designer. So this is actually my final project at design school, which was a t-shirt collection that I did both in Hebrew and in Arabic. The point of this project was to show, take figures from the Arab cultures and do kind of Hebrew, translate their work to Hebrew, and take some people from the Israeli culture and translate them to Arabic, in trying to create more connection between the Arabs and Israel, Jewish people in Israel, and try to create more dialogue and openness to different cultures. So this was basically typographic design that I did on silkscreen on the t-shirts, and basically presented them. So it was both branding. I also did kind of a fashion magazine for this, and basically the t-shirt collection. I have another project here, which is basically kind of a branding project for this. So this is in Hebrew, but basically it was a branding for a supermarket that I wanted to show kind of like the supermarket was supposed to be very transparent and ethical. So I basically showed that all the packaging were transparent, and I kind of did these type of iconography to explain how the product were, manufactured. So I created this kind of a language of icons around that. Basically, very, very clean, I would say, branding. So as you can see here, kind of my design sensibilities are growing. I have more skills now, and I'm presenting design in a more professional way. I'm giving a lot more context here about the project and what I try to do with them. So this is less, I would say, experimental design and really more proper and oriented for getting a design job. And you can see my skills kind of growing here, but this is still, I would say, very very wide ranging in terms there is branding here, but there is also kind of like, this is some kind of an experimental design project with before computers we had this kind of the cards for the computer. I don't remember their punch cards they were called, before we had hard drives. So I did kind of an experimental project around that. So there are things which are very experimental here. There is kind of like typography posters. So this is in Hebrew, but it's basically a poster for the zoo. So all the letters are shaped as animals. So you can still see that as a designer, I didn't really know what path I was going for. It's not really focused to getting a job at a design agency, advertising agency. There's, by the way, nothing web here or digital in this portfolio at all. Even though I was very much interested in the internet and designing for the web, there is nothing. I literally spent 4 years in design school. I don't think I've designed one website during this whole process. So literally coming out of design school, I didn't have any design work to show. So a lot of focus on typography, which was something that specifically in my design school, I think they put a lot of effort on it and got people are really excited about typography. So this is Hebrew typography, kind of experimental Hebrew typography, an English one. But so they really helped people or focused people on typography and layout and that kind of stuff. I think just because those were the teachers in the school, and we ended up coming out from school with very typography and layout oriented portfolios, which again, I think that for me as somebody who was very focused on, I wanted to do interactive work, digital work, I think it kind of sucked to come out with a portfolio that looks like that. And this portfolio actually helped me to land my first job, full-time job after school, which was at a branding agency. So the work here was more or less relevant for a branding agency, and it did work to land me a job at a branding agency. But again, couldn't do anything digital at that point, I guess. By the way, you can see here that this was made in 2011, built with Indexhibit, which was kind of like the portfolio for designers back in the day. It was kind of like a customizable, I guess also PHP template that a lot of designers use back in the time. Let's see what I said in the about. Okay, so basically this is the about. There was also, I guess, a way to download this in a PDF format, which I can't find right now. So this is what I had back in 2011. Now, the last iteration, you might have seen it. This is actually what I have right now that I think I've did that 2 years ago, and I've shared the process of creating this website on the YouTube channel, so you can see the whole process of me building this. This is kind of like, I guess, very much aware of where I am today, designer focused on working with startups, designing products and brands, some info about me, and then focus on the work. Here you can see that I know how to present. I know how to do art direction. The web is actually at a different place right now that you can use the whole screen. Technology has shifted. And here you can see that my focus is really on, app design and web design and digital product, also branding, but, most of the focus is digital work here. So yeah, I actually feel like maybe next year, 2020 is the year where I'll have to redo this, because most of the work here are works that I did like more than 2 years ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I feel like I need to update my portfolio at this point. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to document again how I redo my portfolio if you're interested in seeing that. I think my major takeaway from this video and what I wanted to show you is you're always growing, and you can see the leaps in the portfolio here. I know a lot of you guys, first of all, either don't have portfolio because you feel like you don't have real project, real client work to show. And I just wanted to show you that throughout my journey, a lot of the work that I showed was work that I did for myself, personal experimentation, schoolwork, just experiments in general. And it was helpful for me. It was helpful to show other people that I do have skills and at least show them what I'm interested in, and also help me explore, the things that I'm interested in. So I do recommend, put up your website. No matter where you are in your career right now, it's just a milestone of where you are right now. And it's actually going to be funny and I think nostalgic to look at it 10 years from now, where you'll be at a very, very different space. So I recommend showing who you are to the world right now. Don't feel bad if you're not where you want to be, if you're not amazing yet, if you're not, just be who you are right now. It's okay, and it's valuable to show the world who you are at this point, and it's valuable to document the journey. And 2 years, 3, 4 years from now, you'll do it again and it'll be better. It's just part of the journey. Let me know if this video was valuable for you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.